Vergil Ortiz Jr. proved that he is a legitimate problem at 154. While he didn't get the highlight knockout that some might thought, or it wasn't the back and forth fight of the night type of fight that we thought going into this fight, granted, the second half of the fight was so much better than the first half. Vergil Ortiz showed so much in his game that I don't know if a lot of people thought he had. First, he got the unanimous decision over Israil Madrimov. Madrimov obviously had that really great performance against Terence Crawford. When it came to Vergil Ortiz tonight, he looked a little bit confused. At first, he was the one confusing Ortiz. Let's talk about this. At the start of the fight, Madrimov was moving around for the first 4 rounds. Ortiz kept coming forward, and on the broadcast, they said it right. Ortiz needed to let the jab go, try and stop Madrimov from moving as much as he was. Madrimov wasn't throwing offensively very much, okay? I thought Vergil, while those first rounds were pretty boring, I thought Vergil kind of got out to a 3-1 lead in the first 4 rounds just because Madrimov wasn't throwing. And then come the 5th and 6th round, Madrimov said, okay, I'm going to stand in front of you and I'm going to come forward a little bit. And they exchanged, and Madrimov at points was getting the best of Vergil. He was landing some clean shots, and it was like, okay, is this just going perfectly with Madrimov's game plan? And then Vergil was just continuously able to make adjustments. He was realizing, okay, if you want to stand in front of me, I'm going to start working the body, which I said in my preview was going to be huge. Body shots for both guys. Personally, I thought this fight was going to end via a body shot. I didn't know who, but I thought it was going to end via a body shot. Vergil started working the body and slowing down Madrimov. I believe it was in the 8th round he landed the body shot. The broadcast said, I can't believe Madrimov is still standing. Numerous times through those final rounds, Vergil was landing body shots that Madrimov, you could see his face, the reaction. It took a lot out of him. Overall, I think Vergil showed so many facets of his game. A lot of people thought Vergil, just this guy who's coming forward looking for the knockout, and granted, that's what he did this fight, but he also showed some great defense. He made Madrimov miss a lot of the times, especially on the inside. Madrimov was coming around with, say, a right hook. Vergil was getting out of the way of it. Madrimov a couple times even spun around because he thought he just couldn't keep up with Vergil. Additionally, I thought Vergil's patience in this fight was huge. I feel like Vergil maybe 3, 4, 5 fights ago would have just been running after Madrimov, trying to chase him down and get the knockout. He's realized, hey, these first 4 rounds when Madrimov is moving around, I'm not gonna commit to anything at the moment. I'm just gonna let this fight come to me, and it eventually did. Madrimov said, I can't do this the entire fight. Got into a firefight with Vergil Ortiz, and in Vergil Ortiz's mind, hey, nobody's going to beat me when it comes to just letting the exchanges happen. I will say, I don't know if the power has necessarily carried up to 154 as it was at 47, and while I do think he has power at 54, I don't know if it's the knockout power at 54 like it was at 47. I say this because Vergil landed a lot of good shots that stopped or stunned or kind of made Madrimov back off for a second, but nothing that said, oh, Madrimov is hurt. So I think his power at 54 is good enough to gain the respect of his opponent, but I don't know if it's good enough right now to knock out some of these top tier guys. Because you gotta know, these guys also have great defense. Madrimov did have a good fight. He did have some good defense in his arsenal, but when Vergil was hitting him, Vergil landed some flush shots, whether it was to the body or to the head. Madrimov never looked like he was in dire trouble. But I think a culmination of that, that's what gets Vergil Ortiz going and gets Vergil Ortiz in the zone. When he's able to land combinations, and again, the start of the fight, he wasn't able to. And for me, I was like, okay, he might be winning these rounds, but it's because Madrimov isn't throwing. Once Madrimov starts throwing, this could go bad for Vergil. But Vergil just waited and waited and waited. And when opportunities opened up, he didn't miss. He started throwing combinations. He started throwing the jab. I think the jab really turned everything around because Madrimov realized, oh, if he's throwing the jab, I can't continue to move like this. I'm going to start going forward. And for Vergil, again, he invites that. He invites the firefight. I mean, Vergil from round 1 to round 12 was walking forward the entire fight. Granted, Madrimov was making him walk a long ways around the ring, but Vergil was saying, hey, I'm walking you down. I think eventually the judges were going to be like, okay, yeah, we see the guy walking down, aggression. That was ultimately going to always help Vergil. it got better because Vergil was able to land some clean punches. Personally, I'm just so impressed with this Vergil performance because I think it just shows so much more than just his offense in this fight and even his defense. And they talked about on the broadcast how he is a very good defensive fighter. I think this performance showed a lot of his boxing IQ. And you got to give Robert Garcia and Vergil's corner too, because you can imagine this was a part of the game plan. This was part of when Vergil was coming back to the corner. Garcia, Vergil Ortiz's father, Vergil Ortiz Jr., telling him, hey, yes, this isn't the way we want it to go right now, but just be patient. It's going to go that way. And even the moments where it wasn't necessarily going in Vergil's way, Madrimov was connecting with some shots. Vergil was able to stay calm, cool, and collected and able to respond. Again, I'm thoroughly impressed with this Vergil Ortiz performance. I think he's shown that he's a legit contender at 154. We knew he was a legit fighter, but at 54, after the Boachuk fight, how serious was he at 54? Got dropped twice, granted, they were flash knockdowns. This fight, there wasn't an instance where I said, uh-oh, Vergil's in trouble, or uh-oh, that shot really hurt Vergil. Not a single instance, and I think Madrimov landed some very good shots in this fight. Vergil's defense was able to keep him out of trouble, and his constant pressure and patience was able to put Madrimov into trouble. For Vergil, I'm interested to see where he goes. I'd like a fight against Sebastian Fundora. I think that'd be a crazy good fight. Some Fundora fights later in March. That could be a fun fight. I don't think the Terence Crawford fight is going to happen anymore. That was talked about a little before Crawford Canelo's. I think Crawford's done after the Canelo fight. I don't see him going back down to 154. So it's interesting. Saw someone say Charlo, Jermell Charlo, when he gets back. Hey, that would be a Texas fireworks show. Oh my goodness, that would be incredible. It's going to be interesting to see who Vergil goes with next. But I think he's shown, hey, if it's not next fight, it's the fight after. He needs to be fighting for a title. Boachuk and now Madrimov, and Madrimov in the fashion he did, again, not the highlight knockout that some people want and were expecting, but if you were watching this fight, you saw the IQ of Vergil Ortiz Jr. on display, and I think that goes a long way. And for me personally, I think that showed me a whole nother level of Vergil Ortiz's game, his toolbox, his bag. I think Vergil might have came out of this for me an even more dangerous fighter. We got to still see if the power is knockout power at 54, but I think the power is enough to make his opponents respect him. So I'm interested. I think Vergil, well, of course, it wasn't the fight of the night that I predicted it to be. It was a heck of a fight and a heck of a win for Vergil Ortiz. I'm excited to see what's next. Comment below, who do you want to see Vergil Ortiz fight next? And did you have him winning this fight? I feel like it was a comfortable win for Vergil, but anybody here have it the other way for Madrimov? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the Never Drop Podcast. That's all I got for you. Peace.